Hey everybody, thanks for clicking on Storm Talk. Way Through News meteorologist Brian Good here. We're going to go over the rain chance for this afternoon tonight, and we'll take a look at your thunder forecast. In fact, you guys are going to get the chance to see the exclusive forecast we're going to be releasing on the newscast this evening. You're going to get a chance to get an exclusive look at that here on the video blog before it airs on TV later. So, new information coming in. I'm trying to analyze it all, and you guys are seeing the first results of that. So hang tight. We'll get to that part of the forecast in a second. First off, let's go through our chances for severe weather over the next 3 days. Today, it's not here. It's located across the Front Range of the Rockies, the panhandles of Texas and Oklahoma, most at risk for severe weather for this afternoon and tonight. As we head into tomorrow, it's mainly Kansas and southern Texas, pretty much the same locations being impacted. It's the same cutoff low that we're going to be talking about for Thunder Weekend that is sitting in the same spot and slowly working its way eastbound. But that slow movement is good for us, for Thunder. It's bad for these guys who are getting pounded with severe weather day after day. It'll still happen. Looks like even on the day on Saturday, severe weather expected in the Plain States. So good for us, but bad for our friends there to the west. All right, let's talk about what's happening so far today. We've had a round of showers this morning, some flooding in southern Kentucky. Now we're starting to see the new development pop on the radar locating southwest Indiana, west Kentucky, as expected. And the reason why it's popping, the sun came out. And if you've been outside recently, you notice how humid it is out there at the moment. It's warm and sunny, but humid. And now that the sun's heating up that moisture, it's quickly developing a cumulus cloud field, and showers and thunderstorms will begin to pop. We're not expecting severe weather. The wind field's above our heads, very weak. So this is mainly just heavy downpours, some lightning, and slow movement here to the east, which will take place later this afternoon and to this evening. Mention that warmer air. We're up to 70 here now. We could easily climb into the mid-70s. If this cloud cover does not move in time, we're going to keep climbing. So it's going to be a fairly warm and humid afternoon until the storms arrive. Here's one of the short-range models. It brings the storm action. Again, very clustery look to the showers around 4:30 this afternoon, and then a few more as we get through this evening. And then finally, they begin to fade away off to the south. Again, nothing overly widespread, but the chance will be there for this afternoon. So make sure to keep your weather app, your Way Through weather app on your phone, and keep an eye on that radar if you're going to head out to activities with your kids in games or want to take a walk in the neighborhood. Keep an eye on the radar because you don't want to get caught by a heavy downpour. All right, as I mentioned, here's the setup. It's that cutoff low that's developing here in the Rockies, and because it is slowly moving eastbound, it has a warm front with it. That warm front should not move here until sometime late Saturday night into Sunday. It does have a cold front with it as well. That should move in here on Monday. But because this system is fairly cut off from the main flow itself, which is way up here, the low pressure is just kind of struggling to head eastbound. And again, that is in our favor to keep thunder activities mainly dry. I mean, perfect timing for this. Didn't look this way a few days ago, but it's so far lining up pretty good. So let me show you two of our short-range models that are higher resolution to give you an example of what we're looking at, and then we'll get into the forecast. So here is the RPM model. This is our in-house model. Starts you off tomorrow morning. Maybe some fog in some locations if we clear out, because we picked up some rain today. And if we clear the sky out tonight with that humidity so high, it won't take much to get dense fog tomorrow, so heads up there. In the afternoon tomorrow, we'll break out in some sunshine. Can't rule out the idea that a pop-up storm could develop, especially for Kentucky versus Indiana, but we can't rule it out. We're going to keep chances of rain low. I'm saying that only because don't bet on a completely dry 29-county area tomorrow. There could be an isolated pop-up storm. Otherwise, it is going to be a sunny and very warm day. We had 75 for high. We may have to raise that close to 80 the way things are looking. We'll make that final call here later on today. Saturday morning, start off temperatures right around 60, and then by the time we get into the air show, it's saying 79. I think we'll be very close to that, if not warmer than that, by 3 o'clock. Keep in mind, when we do this forecast, it is usually cooler at the river compared to areas away from the river, including downtown. So factor that in your mind. Shave off a few degrees of the forecast numbers if you're going to be real close to the water, because that wind off the east will create a slight chill compared to what everybody else will feel. But still, it's not going to be dramatic, so you'll be all right. But here we go. Air show, looking good. Fireworks time. Clouds begin to stream in, but still dry. The rain, the warm front, begins to push in as we get into 2 o'clock in the morning on Sunday, and then off and on periods of rain throughout Sunday into Monday. So that's one model's idea, the RPM. Now here's the NAM model. Again, short range. It's similar resolution, but here we go. Breaking out, it's Friday afternoon. It's not as warm as the RPM, but I still think we have a chance to get close to 80 for Friday. and it's mainly dry as well, but I can't rule out that isolated chance. The storm coverage tomorrow is so small, the models sometimes can't pick that out unless you use a really high-res model, which we call the triple R, but it can't see that far out. But we use those models for real short-term events because they can pick out those little tiny little storms that could pop up, one or two of them. These type of models, it's such a small event, it doesn't really see it very well. So even though it's not on here, that's why we're telling you the potential is there for an isolated storm. All right, Saturday. Now, here's the thing. The NAM model is trying to say a few storms may develop overnight Friday night. It's the only one really saying that. We'll watch that. I wouldn't rule it out because there's going to be what we call a dew point gradient in southern Kentucky, and that boundary could ignite a few storms early Saturday morning. It doesn't look to be in Louisville. It looks to be south of us, but that is something we will keep an eye on. It is cooler for the morning hours on Saturday, maybe too cool at 49. It's about 74 for temperatures, mid-70s Saturday afternoon. Again, not as warm as the RPM, but not far off either. It's still showing a mainly dry outlook. Fireworks time, very similar. Clouds increase, still warm. And then it brings the rain in much later at near sunrise. In fact, Sunday morning, we get the warm front rains and then periods of heavy rain on Sunday. A lot of you probably will be sleeping in on Sunday after an active day on Saturday. But Sunday looks to be a good napping day the way it is looking right now. All right, so let's look at the soundings here, as we always do. Again, this is the ground level. You're looking right up, looking straight up above your head to where the airplanes fly, all right? And basically what we're looking at here is the moisture line in green, temperature line in red. What I'm looking at is potential for these two to be touching. If they touch together anywhere, you get cloud cover, and of course you can get rain. They're fairly far apart. Now there is a little bit of a somewhat of a tightness here, about 4,000 feet. I wouldn't be surprised we have a few high thin clouds that some cirrus may try to form, maybe a couple of cumulus. That is possible. It's a little high for a few cumulus to develop, but I wouldn't rule it out. But overall, the thing is, there's a gap here, and winds are light. So a nice-looking day. Should be mostly sunny. As we head to fireworks time, I've turned on the grayness here because that tells me an inversion layer, and that is where the temperature actually goes. You know, usually you get cooler as you go up. Well, this is saying that it's actually going to get warmer as you go up for a little while. It goes up to the right, and then it goes back to the left, then back to the right, then back to the left. This is layers of inversion, we call that. And the reason why I'm looking at that at fireworks time is this inversion close to the ground would likely trap the fireworks smoke pretty close to ground level. The winds are not very strong, so when the smoke begins to pop from the fireworks, it may either hang right over the river itself and slowly drift toward New Albany the way it's looking now, that east flow, but it also may not rise very much, the smoke. It may get stuck pretty close to the firework level. So we'll watch that for viewing ideas, but I don't think it's going to be anything significant. It's not a huge inversion, but it is one that could impact the smoke somewhat. So putting all that together, here's the latest here. Air show at 77. I think at the time of the air show kicks off at 3 o'clock, 80 degrees. I think we'll max out around 82 for the afternoon. Winds light out of the east. Fireworks time, still warm throughout the evening. 79 at 7 o'clock. We'll get into the fireworks time, still about 76. And through midnight, I think we'll stay in the 70s. With clouds increasing, though, as the night wears on. As far as the flooding goes, great news here today. They have lowered the forecast crest level now to stay below flood stage at the upper gauge on Saturday to 22.5. Still high enough that the Great Lawn is going to be underwater as it is now, and other areas around River Road will have places that's underwater. So as far as impacts, not a huge difference, but at least it is going to be somewhat lower than expected. We'll take every bit we can get. Lower gauge, same scenario. Should be below flood stage. I know the Horseshoe Casino is happy about that. 53.9 is forecast now for Saturday morning. So heavy rain Sunday and Monday. And I'm watching this in the long term for next week. How cool are we going to get it? There's signs here we're going to have a cool shot of air next week, around Tuesday through Thursday. The Canadian says much colder air arrives here Wednesday. In fact, we may have a day in the 50s and potentially maybe some frost, patchy frost, either Wednesday or Thursday morning. The GFS, not as aggressive on that. The European's not out yet, but so far it's a cooler trend next week. That's obvious. No 80s. But I don't know how cool we're going to get. I'm debating back and forth whether we're going to have a day in the 50s or whether or not we'll see patchy frost. We'll know that when we get a little closer. I'm just going to give you guys a little bit of a heads up as much as I can. All right. I hope that all made sense, guys. That's how we stay now. Looking pretty good. We'll get through these storms the next 24 hours, and then enjoy the festivities as we head into the upcoming weekend. All right, guys. Have a good day. We'll see you today at 5.